Welcome back inside the Athletic and Wellness Center here at Centennial College's Progress Campus. It's the second half of our doubleheader of volleyball action. The Centennial Colts women's team taking the first match by a score of 3-1 sets against the George Brown Huskies, but now it's the men's turn. We're about 3 minutes away from the start of that one. However, for now, we're going to turn things over to the public address announcer for this one, Ryan Miller, for the presentation of today's starting lineups.
Your starting lineup for the George Brown Huskies. From St. George's Grenada, 6'4" middle, number 5, Kobe John. From Markham, a 6'3" outside hitter, number 7, Daniel Kwan. From North York, a 6' middle, number 8, Joseph Lee. From Ajax, at 5'9", left side and center, number 9, Brandon Shen. From North York, 5'9" center, Noah Park. From Woodbridge, Ontario, 5'10" outside hitter, number 14, Ken McGuire. And rounding out the roster from Vandorf, 6' outside hitter, number 15, David Frobel. And now, your starting lineup for the Centennial Colts. At 6 feet, libero from Scarborough, number 11, Zachary Moore. And 5'8" center from Cinco Japan, number 8, Michael Matsuto. On right side at 6'3" from Mexico, number 1, Gianluca Righetto. At 6'2", middle blocker from Toronto, number 10, Pablo Alvarez. And from Scarborough, a 6'2" middle blocker, number 7, Alexandros Spia. A 6'1" outside hitter, number 13, your captain, Lionnis Salazar. A 5'10" libero outside hitter from Sao Paulo, from Colombia, number 4, Pedro. Full station, let's ride!
And that was the starting lineups, and we're about to start the second half of our doubleheader between the George Brown Huskies and the Centennial Colts. I'm Zachary Friedman, and I'm actually joined alongside for a very special guest. Women's volleyball head coach Andrew Mallory's with me following his victory. Andrew, welcome to the broadcast.
Hello, Colts Nation. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great win for your team in the first one. I mean, you guys got off to a shaky start, but what did you like about the effort of your team in this one?
We kind of expected a little bit of a shaky start, to be honest. Home games, especially to start the season, come with a lot of pressures and a lot of stuff going on, especially when we realized the crowd is a little split. So we were okay with it, and we kind of just kept a level head, and then we let our attackers go to work.
I mean, you said in your meeting that you were expecting a big crowd today.
We were.
You were expecting a lot of people, and like you said, you were expecting a lot of people on that George Brown side. What's kind of the key? I mean, I know it's a home game, but you have what almost turns into kind of a road situation. How do you keep your team grounded?
Basically, we just acknowledged it. We said, yeah, it feels like a road game, and we went with it. That's okay. We knew George Brown was going to bring some fans. We knew it was going to be a big game. I mean, we had, George Brown former players in the building, and a lot of people in the OCAA looking forward to that matchup, and I don't think we disappointed with seeing Taylor Grant and Jackie Ronquillo go to work.
And looking at the Centennial men's team, as we're about to get underway with George Brown serving, what do you think they need to do to get by this opponent in George Brown?
They need to let Leo have a big game. Lionnis Salazar is their big attacker, and if he has a big game like we know he can, they'll be in a good situation. Let him start it off, let the focus go there, and then let everybody else go to work.
First point going to the Huskies, so they'll remain on serve, and that's Noah Park taking the role of setter today, as that one's blocked aggressively at the net, and that's Leo there for it.
Speaking of, there we go, off to the early start. He is the Colts' energy. He is the Colts' big swing. He is their leader. As he goes is typically how the Colts are going to go, and off to a good start there. Hopefully it will continue.
Leo Salazar, 6'1" out of Cuba, but with that insane vertical and immense level of power, able to get the attack there for the Colts, as that one's blocked at the net but falling out. So it's going to be another point for the Huskies, who will get right back on serve. It's now Daniel Kwan for the Huskies.
Taking advantage of the lack of calls on the stack rules and putting a little screen in play there for George Brown.
Now, for the people at home that might not know about the stack rule.
So basically what that rule is you can't serve over top of multiple players standing in line of the block. So exactly what George Brown just did there, but while it's a rule, it's often not called. And you could see them moving their 5 players to where the serve wanted to go and serving right over top of them.
That was Salazar with the aggressive serve. And that on the attack was Castellato.
Castellato, often a setter, sometimes a lib, but right now he's on the outside, and that was a lot of power.
So it'll be Salazar with the serve once again. Hard serve that causes George Brown to have to go outside the line. It's a free ball. Set option here, quick, but dug nicely. But it's going to be up again. That's been 2 attempts for Alvarez, who hasn't been able to get it going. But then it's there for Gianluca Righetto. And the Colts have strung now 3 straight points. Salazar to remain on serve.
It seems like Coach Clay Couchman's game plan here is to get the middle established nice and early. Often a game plan for in-system is getting your middle going so your outsides can hit. That seems to be the game plan the Colts are going with. They're not getting killed out of the middle, but they're setting them up for the outside. As
that serve by Salazar goes out, Couchman in a very interesting situation. It's his first year coaching this Colts men's team. Adriana Bento was the coach last season after doing it for 5 years, but she left and is now coaching the Thai national team. She did win OCAA Coach of the Year last year, so big shoes to fill for Couchman.
Absolutely, and Adriana Bento, former women's team head coach as well.
It's Kobe John on the serve now for the Huskies. A bit of an awkward get there for Castellato, and fails to get it over there. That all started with the mishap off the serve, trying to push it to the middle. That one just slips through his fingers. It's 5-4. Huskies lead here in the opening set.
So I must admit, I didn't take time to do any major research on this game ahead of time, but from what I remember from last year's box scores, Kobe John for number 5, middle 4, George Brown was one of their big players last year. So I look for him to be one of the focus players today, right now from the serving line.
That attempt by David Frobel went out the back line, ties things back up. Last season, Centennial and George Brown playing twice, both pretty tight contests, but Centennial taking both. Centennial finishing 4th last year at 12-6. George Brown with a 3-15 record last season. As that one's kept up and going up for the attack, there was Joseph Lee, who was into the game for the first time. And that one's going to be a point as it goes out for the Huskies. And it'll be Frobel, the outside hitter, to serve. That one played low. Good dig there by Sevis, but unable to get it over the net there was the Colts, so the Huskies with another point here.
Middle blocker got down to get that one up. That's not often you see that out of middles. It's such an underrated thing for a middle as a skill, but when you can do that, it absolutely can keep your team in rallies.
Big hit there, but blocked nicely by the Huskies. Going up again for it. This one blocked by the Colts, and now it's Frobel with the attempt.
Net call there. Couldn't tell whether it was the middle or the right, the left side for the Colts, but little net call there. Trying to get the block and just overextending that a little bit.
Either way, it's another point for the Huskies. They lead 8-5 in set number 1. As Castellato will have another chance, and he'll convert on this one. So after the violation, Pedro Castellato coming right back, grabbing a point for the Colts. It'll now be Righetto on the serve. That one passed nicely, and the quick hit from Ken Nguyen. Nice little set play from the Huskies on the quick hitter to Nguyen. 9-6 for the Huskies. As that one to Righetto, that one just makes it over the net. And that one, big hit blocked, kept up there by Nguyen. And sending it back over, it's going to be set up for Castellato again. That one tips off of Frobel and heads out. So a couple points being strung together here on the backs of Pedro Castellato. And now he will take the ball for a service of his own.
When we travel in regular season, we get to see the men's team a lot.
Castellato with a well-placed ace. Painting the corner.
So I haven't seen, because preseason we don't travel the same way, I don't get to watch all their games in preseason. I'm very impressed with Castellato right now. From usually when I see him, he's setting, and he is an effective outside hitter today.
I'm gonna hit across, out of the reach of the libero Orat. But Castellato, the lifeblood of this Colts team early out of Sao Paulo. One of many players on this team that have been recruited internationally to go along with Salazar. And then you also have Righetto out of Mexico. As that one goes into the net for another point for the Colts. Down just one here in set number 1. I mean, Coach, it's so much about the ebbs and flows. There's going to be misplayed points. There's going to be some violations, bad calls. How do you try to break either a slump, or what are some of the keys to keeping a stretch going at times?
It depends on the stretch. Usually there's two ways that are very opposite strategies. Either you need to keep doing the same thing and just do it better, or you need to completely break it and do something you haven't shown yet. And knowing when to do which is probably the hardest part about coaching and playing, in my opinion. It's such a momentum-based sport. Just off the ground and down from Salazar.
There is Leo Salazar once again.
That quickly turned from a ball that could have been an ace into a big kill. Into the face of one of the George Brown defenders. I didn't see which number off the bounce. That was got to be a little insult to injury.
It's Michael Matsuto now taking the ball.
First-year player, younger player, but very talented. I've heard from Coach Couchman that he expects big things over the years from
taking on Matsuto. The role of the setter. And I mean, coming into a new team, is it rare to see a first-year start at that setter position, which is so critical?
I would say it's not usually the plan that coaches want to have. It's sometimes you're kind of a situation you're put in, and sometimes you've earned it.
As a yellow card is going to be issued to
George Brown's side, but I'm not sure if it was the coach or the player who was leaving.
But you were saying, Coach.
Yeah, no, yellow cards are important. We always have got to keep track of those as coaches. Hopefully we don't get too many, but still have no regular season ones for with the Colts for me. But we'll change that at some day, I'm sure.
That was Frobel on the attack there.
But yeah, back to the first-year setter Matsuto. It's definitely a big jump. Like skill-wise, we know he has the skill, but it's not just the actual setting, right? It's the leading your offense, calling your offense, right? Choosing where to set, knowing when to go against the flow. We see an error there by Daniel Kwan with the error there for George Brown Huskies. So it's definitely a hard position to mentally keep up with there as well. And Matsuto being second language, English as well, definitely adds another element. So it's a big time for him to be stepping up already for this Colts team, which could mean big things are in his future.
That point got in right back by the Huskies. They now lead first set 13-11. And I mean, you didn't have a first-year setter, but you kind of had almost a first-time setter today.
Very much a first-time setter.
Cassidy Dunlop, yes.
Absolutely. Stepping into a big role today. No touch called there. That's a hard one at the net. That's got to be one of the hardest things to call in the game, and also the one the players will yell at the refs most about. But yeah, Cassidy Dunlop stepped up for us today. Our veteran setter will be back very soon to your Colts, showing up again with Sophia Clement, but unfortunately school commitments have her elsewhere right now. So Cassidy Dunlop, with about 6 weeks of setter training, stepped up and ran the offense today, and I thought did overall very well. Obviously not the most perfect game of setter ever played, but for how much training she had and what tough spot she was put in, she did excellent. She's now, in a calendar year, started for the Colts at 3 different positions, which is a big ask and probably too much of an ask that I've made of her, but she's handled it well.
Big hit by Salazar.
Is looking high hands, and the block just got out of the way. Unfortunately, that is the risk of when you aim for the high hands. If they disappear, it doesn't look great.
Frobel on the serve. Good second touch there to Righetto.
Oh, right to the chest of the blocker. Oh.
So Righetto not going high on that one.
No, that was aim right at them. see what happens. That's something you see in the men's game that you don't often see in the women's game, where the block is actually high enough you can go below the hands and angle it down into the chest, which is a tough play for both hitter and blocker.
Fortunately, also opens up the facial region for a potential.
It does. We, as someone who has struggled with concussions in my life, we hope they don't aim there.
So 16-13 now for the Huskies. It's Joseph Lee on serve. That one taken by Salazar, but nowhere near any of his Centennial Colts teammates. And it's another point for the Huskies, and a timeout's going to be taken.
Looked like a little confusion there between Salazar and Orat, two of the veteran leaders from the Colts team. I don't expect to see that confusion too often.
So it seemed like a solid opening set, and the Colts have gotten some of the looks that they've been searching for. In this timeout, what might Couchman be saying to his guys?
I think he's going to be focused on the first pass. I think the first contact is so vital, and I think right now the Colts are just a little off. They're not majorly off, but just a little bit off. We saw that one. We see a few earlier where they're just not passing in balanced positions. I tend to be focused as a coach on the footwork. I'm not sure if Couchman does the same when he talks about passing, but I think just getting yourself in better position to make that pass, especially in the men's game where the pace on the serve is so high, you really have to control that first ball to be in system and be able to run your offense.
And I mean, last season, you had your experience in terms of another first game as a coach. What might be going through Couchman's head today? You know, obviously it's a lot of excitement, but are there any nerves right now in Couchman's head?
Absolutely, there's nerves. I would be surprised if there wasn't. I had a little different situation going on the road, which personally I think actually helps because you get that road trip to calm you down, the little bus ride, in our case out to Fleming and Peterborough. but at home, in front of your home crowd, it's exciting, but it also comes with nerves.
Casaletto's attack there, blocked by the strong Husky front, deflecting off the chest of Salazar and out of the way of any Colts players. It's 18-13 now for this Huskies team that's looking re-energized after a lackluster 2022-2023 season. But that serve going out the back.
That missed, but that's a good serve. That's
it
when
looks very close from our
this
angle.
point of year, you tell your player, just keep serving it, because that's going to start falling, and that's a tough serve when it starts falling.
It's Casaletto on the serve. Big, hard serve, but gone in there. It's over to Quan.
Points to the coaches for getting out of the way in time. Nice agility.
And that's Salazar once again. So there you're talking about the first pass. Much better one on that opportunity there.
Absolutely. First contact in this game is not everything, but it's sure a lot. Taking care of that is where the game is won and lost. Good serves and getting that pass in that battle. Well, it might not be the most exciting part of the game, it's definitely the most vital.
Another good serve from Casaletto. Good get, though, as that one's blocked, kept up by Salazar. Matsuto getting it back to Salazar, just has to put a free ball over. And that's Quan trying to find that open segment of the court, but just outside the sideline. That's going to be another point, and Centennial tightening things up here in the first set.
First-year setter gets away with a little bit of a mistake there in that rally. He'll definitely take that as we take the point, but he won't be thrilled when he looks back at that one when he sets a player who is in no position to hit that ball.
That one just airmailed a little bit by Casaletto.
Looked like his toss got out in front of him there. It's always hard when your spin server and your toss gets out in front, because it's really hard to not either put it into the net or put it long. It's very hard. You're walking a very tight rope there.
Kobe John back in at the middle for George Brown.
I'd expect George Brown to try to go there very early.
And that was John trying to block, but Salazar too strong. That one actually going off the face of Ken Nguyen over the net, but out of play.
Little Scott Sterling action there, but not quite as effective.
It's now Alexandros Sevis on serve. That one hit into the backcourt. Good court awareness there. That was Noah Park.
Not ideal technique, but the perfect spot. Colts defense creeping up a little bit, didn't leave anyone back home, and then it's a chase down. Ref has a little adjustment for, looks like the George Brown bench to make. Looks like they're standing too close. All of our fun little yellow card to the bench. So that one's definitely to the coach.
So a second yellow card.
Is not necessarily a red, but he might go a red here. It doesn't look like it. He's not reaching for his pocket, although there is a conversation. If it is a red card, it is a 1-point loss. It's not an ejection from the game. It's not soccer where red card means you're kicked out, but it is a 1-point loss. It would be a point to the Colts.
So the Huskies have service at the moment. Should there be a red card and that 1-point loss, does it still remain George Brown's serve?
I don't believe so. To be honest, it's been a long time since I've seen a red card.
So they're not very frequent.
No, they're not very frequent. And in this case, I believe it's not a red card because it's two different violations on the yellow cards. So there's two yellow cards for different things on the score sheet. I think both to the coach based on the conversation. But it is referee's discretion with that. It's not a soccer system. We just steal the card colors. There is also a purple card in volleyball too, but that's for spectators.
That free ball coming back. Here's a chance. Matsuto, Salazar, and that one too hot to handle for David Frobel. And Salazar had about 3 chances to end it there, finally getting it done on the third one.
Little delay in momentum ends up helping Colts there. That's always the added little element of anything yellow card or talks about rotations, anything like that, that just slows the momentum of the serving team.
It's Matsuto on serve.
Setter with the spin serve. Return to sender. Righetto set that right back. First year with the Colts, and that is a big way to say hello to the Colts faithful in the stands.
Big block for Righetto. But then the serve by Matsuto out the back line.
And we should know, Righetto's first year with the Colts, but it is not his first year of big-time volleyball. He has played at NAIA school, St. Joseph's of Calumet in the States previously. So this is not a new situation to him, but new first time in front of the Colts faithful.
Seems like the refs were gesturing again towards the George Brown bench as Righetto gets it, but dug nicely by the libero Chen.
I believe that was a warning for yelling during the serve. There's a new rule this year that was sent out as a reminder this week that was also talked about during our game. The players on the team cannot yell during the opposing team's serve or make sound of any distracting type. Of course, the crowd still can, but the players cannot. So I believe that's what that conversation was. That was a conversation that had to be had during our game for George Brown as well.
There's enough voices in the crowd. I can understand why you maybe want to take 9 or 10 voices out of it. As a serve by Salazar is a hard one. Set up nicely, though. As now Centennial with a chance. It's Righetto. Can't get it done. That one's set. And nice placement there from Frobel, hitting the end line.
Colts defense seems to be creeping up during rallies. I'm not sure if it's by design or just by being so anxious to play short tips and rolls, things like that. It might be game plan, it might be system. I'm not 100% sure, being the first time I've been able to watch a full Colts men's team game this year.
So maybe we'll be able to reassess in
absolutely
about a set or two.
That may be a change that Coach Clay looks to make in between sets. As we see, it kind of gets in there again, not as badly, but that 6 just seems a little high up.
I definitely see what you mean, though, as Salazar is almost at the edge of what is the Colts 3-point line for the basketball game, which is almost halfway up the court there. Unable to get a dig on that spike from the Huskies.
Typically in the men's game, 6 plays often out of the court. The 6 is usually going to be taking stuff off block, stuff off rolls, things like that. So it's not unusual for a men's game to see the defensive player actually outside the court. So being that high, especially in the men's game, it seems like a system choice right now. If not, it would be something I think Coach Clay is looking to change.
So we'll see if that change is made by Coach Clayton Couchman, as the George Brown Huskies are just 2 points away from taking the opening set of this one, and they will have serve.
Castellano having a conversation with the referee in between points there during the timeout, so I'm not sure what it is, but there's something that is distracting him about what George Brown is doing.
It's going to be Kobe John at 6'4". Big middle on the serve here. Pass nicely there to Matsuto. A bit of an awkward ball for Castellato, but he's able to tip that one off of the Husky block, and it's a point for the Colts.
Those kills never look as pretty, but they're just as many points on the scoreboard. Puts it off high hands into the antenna. It's a kill all day.
And that serve heading out of play. So it's 23-22. Colts with a chance to tie things up here.
Daniel Kwan just overrunning it. Instead of getting settled down, was trying to rise up to meet that ball. That's always a tougher way to take that pass.
That one there for Frobel. But Frobel hitting the net on the violation, and we're tied up at 23.
George Brown just losing a little bit of their composure in their system right now. They've been very effective with first passes and just running their system, and it seemed a little bit scrambly late in the set.
On the serve, this is Alvarez. Long run for the setter. And kept up. Matsuto with a chance for Castellato. That one ball kept up and sent back to the Husky side. Back set there for Frobel. And they're going to try him once more, as that one's kept up by Alvarez. Castellato off the block and onto the ground. Great rally by both sides, but Centennial just staying a little bit stronger, a little bit tougher, as the Huskies will take a timeout with set point here for the Colts.
George Brown did a good job of playing through there when they thought there was a violation. That's always tough to do in a rally. They stayed in it, didn't get the rally done, but they did a good job of staying posed and just playing through.
So I got an interesting fact for you, Coach, because I was talking about Kobe John at 6'4". The tallest player in today's doubleheader actually comes from the Centennial women's team. It's Sarah Campbell, the middle, at 6'5".
Yep.
And when she stepped on the court today, I was shocked. There was like 5 inches between her and the closest Colt player.
Yep.
I mean, having someone like that on your team, what does it mean for those key defensive situations?
It's big. I mean, Sarah is a first year as well. We definitely have a lot of development to do there still. But I thought she did a really good job when she got in. Nothing on the scoreboard, but she affected a play where they hit into the net, and then she got one down where there was a net violation by someone else on the Colts. Very happy with what she did. She'll continue to grow. She's someone you will see on the court for the Colts, making a difference in the games to come.
So set point here for the Colts. It's going to be Alvarez trying to get it done. That one off the tips of Brandon Chen's fingers. And the Centennial Colts take set number 1. They were down 23-20 and then record 5 straight points to take the opening set.
Everything after 20 is clutch time. Colts came up big in the clutch time. Good job, boys.
So the Colts seemed a little shaky to start this one, but a couple good timeouts by Clayton Couchman for Centennial. And we go into set number 2 with the Colts up 1-0, which will start about 2.5 minutes time when we come back. Welcome back inside the Athletic and Wellness Center here at Centennial College's Progress Campus. It's the second set of the second half of our men's volleyball doubleheader. Centennial taking the first set after getting 5 straight points to close it out. I'm Zachary Friedman, joined once again by coach of the women's volleyball team, Andrew Mallory.
It's been a fun game so far. We'll see how she develops from here. Definitely has been an interesting back and forth, and there's more to come, I am sure.
It's going to be the setter, Michael Matsuto, starting off service for the Colts. Bit of an awkward ball, has a free opportunity. It's Righetto on the attack, and he gets it down. So a misplayed ball by the Huskies. It's like chum for the Colts. Nice set and a big hit there from Daniel Kwan. He got up there. Didn't seem like it had the most power on it, but good placement as well in the back corner.
Doesn't seem to be any lineup changes for either team coming into the second set. At least at my first glance.
That one for Salazar. Nice block, though, by Ken Nguyen, the outside hitter at 5'10", getting up there.
Very interesting set play there by the Colts. Really flooding that zone, sending 3 attackers on 2 blockers. Usually that's going to find success, but not that time. The block got up there and effectively assessed who was the threat.
I actually think there was a net violation, though, called on George Brown, because it's now the serve for the Colts as that one's blocked at the net. And from the back.
Oh, I don't know if I agree with that call. That might be the ball.
That was just a little close. Let's see if we can see on the replay here. It's a little too quick for us.
I think it was in, but I'm biased.
Matsuto finds Righetto again. Frobel keeps it up. And it was there for Lee. Kept up by Matsuto. Castellato overpowering the libero, Chen. And the Colts will get it right back. 3 serving 2 early in the second set.
Sevis coming in here. We'll have to see if the Colts can get him a little more involved in the action, at least with more effective attacks to get some kills here. I don't believe he had many in the first set.
That one, quick play there. Blocked nicely by the Colts as Righetto will have another chance. It's up here for the Huskies. It's Frobel. Diving at it, Salazar, but that's far away from any Centennial Colts. So good effort, good hustle, but the point goes to George Brown.
I think I hurt just watching that one. That was quite the effort and quite the little roll at the end there.
Yeah, I was about to say, tank top is an interesting choice for Centennial Colts jerseys, considering how much you're diving and sliding on the floor, especially how much those shoulders can hit as Nguyen puts his serve into the net.
Tank top seems to be generally the jersey of choice in the men's game, although we don't see George Brown rocking that today, just because men tend to want the range of motion at the shoulders, either that they just think isn't there with sleeves on or not, but that seems to be the reason for the choice.
That and they want to show off the gains as well.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a little bit to do with it.
Getting up there was Kobe John.
Kobe John showing off the hops on that one.
We mentioned he's a big man at 6'4", but you cannot teach vertical. And he got up there.
Really great job to read the block and go away from it there. Cut his swing short, put it down with power. Orad gets underneath it.
That was blocked and kept up. Nice play by the Colts defense as that one's tipped and over the head of Righetto.
Good back and forth rallies right now between these two teams. Definitely going to be a battle towards the end of this game.
Frobel once again on the serve, taken by Orad. That one's there for Castellato. Good dig there by Kwan. It's Frobel with another try, kept up by Castellato. It's set once again for Frobel. That one not tipped at the net. So just straight out. I thought I might have heard a finger getting nicked, but that one just goes out. It's going to be Castellato now on the serve. And he's going to serve that one right into the net.
Definitely a high-risk, high-reward serve. I like to see it, especially early in the season, really develop that big, high-reward serve so that by the end of the year, those will be going in more often than not at this point of the year in development.
That one, a knuckler dipping down, tipped over nicely, but out. That was Matsuto trying to place it along the sideline there.
Tough play for your setter and almost got it to go. Very deft hand with that right hand to just turn that ball back. Just got a little too much air underneath it.
Good identification, though, to see that that would have been hit aggressively by Kwan as it was going over the net. As now there's Sevis. You were mentioning they have to get him going, and they do right there.
Almost unfortunate timing of when he goes back to serve, but we do get him going before he hopefully keeps it going from the service line.
Colts down one in set number 2. That's going to be Kwan. It's blocked nicely.
Salazar turns it back into the court. Huge block.
Salazar getting that one. A little help from Alvarez as well. That one all Leo.
Staying on the right side and just turning that right hand as soon as that ball hit so effectively. That is picture perfect.
That's going to be a yellow card, I think, on Salazar.
That is not his first time getting a yellow card in NCAA action. He's very passionate, very loud, very energetic. Sometimes refs don't appreciate the way he celebrates.
So is that almost like, I mean, if you're watching football on a Sunday, is that like seeing a taunting call, basically?
Basically, Salazar is arguing he turned towards his team, which is what you're supposed to do. You can celebrate as big and loud as you want if you're with your team. You're just not supposed to face the other team when you do it. But he gets the call regardless. Doesn't really mean anything as long as he doesn't get more consecutive calls for that.
Nice serve there by Sevis. It was a little tough for the substitute. What's there?
Long. Got a little bit too much air underneath that. Was a little in front of himself with the toss. O'Rat back in. See if he gets the ball here to get a nice pass going to get this Colts offense started.
It's Kobe John back to serve. Taken nicely there by Casalado.
Oh.
Kept up with the feet of Salazar, but good block by the Huskies there.
Miscommunication in the back row off the block. Coming back off the foot. Two players looking at each other, not going for it. Nothing will stress the coach out quicker.
Quick one there for Alvarez, kept up. Now it's Salazar, and that one's tipped off of the Husky hands. So Leo Salazar, he had it going in the first set. He's brought it over both offensively and defensively here in the second.
And a very reserved celebration for Salazar standards. So he has learned from the mistake of getting the yellow.
That serve was dipping, but just a little too far. That'll make it 10-9 here in the second set.
Certainly been a few errors, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of our first-year setter here, Michael Matsuto. It's early in the season. He's just going to develop more. So far, I'm really liking what I've been seeing.
That one kept in play as now that was Kwan going up for it off of the block. So another point here for the Huskies. And you're talking a lot about mistakes, Coach. In a first game of the season when you're still trying to get in the flow of things, what are mistakes that you would be able to tolerate?
There's always going to be mistakes you can tolerate, but especially at this point in the year. And generally the ones where you're being aggressive are the ones that we're going to tolerate. So if you have a hard serve just out the back line, if you hit a ball just off the edge, if you're overreaching for something, we'd rather pull you back as the year goes on, but working on being aggressive than trying to get more energy out of you and more aggression and more power as the year goes on. So you're okay being aggressive, especially at this point. I mean, it will depend on players somewhat and where they are in development, but like that serve from Matsuto, just missing the back line as he's working on that spin serve. I don't know how long, I don't know his personal development story, but I'm guessing based on the way he's serving it, he's still a little newer at that serve, so So it's something that by the time we reach the end of the year, by the time we reach playoffs, it should be a very effective weapon for the Colts.
That was Salazar on the finish there. His serve tipped off the net, and it's over to Frobel, who gets it straight down.
Serve off the net is often a very dangerous weapon, but George Brown did a great job of adjusting to it.
We saw that more than a couple times today in your guys' match, in the women's team match.
We encourage hitting the tape with your serve. It usually results in an ace. So it's not something we focus on necessarily too much in practice, but it's definitely something you encourage.
That one, big hit, but out. That was Joseph
Orat to leave that.
So good court awareness and identification by Orat.
It's a very new look Colts team this year. It's very interesting to watch the new faces mesh, either whether they be faces who have been in training, getting ready to go this year, or new to the Colts period. There's only really 1.5 years of on-court Colts experience in the starting lineup right now. So lots of other players have experience elsewhere, but making the team mesh is always going to be an interesting challenge. And we're seeing them kind of working through that as we go tonight. New look Colts team, but very exciting Colts team to watch.
That went up for Castellato. Soft touch kept up by the Huskies. That was Joseph
Orat. Perfect technique on that. Just long by Salazar.
Good attempt there, but
what
you said
a dig.
Orat on the dig there. Very impressive as a timeout's going to be called by Clayton Couchman.
Manipulating the hips under that ball and getting the platform out with the angle. That is a very high level of difficulty dig. Very impressed by Orat there. One of those returning Colts members that we have seen on the court before. Very effective for the Colts and looks to be one of their key pieces this year.
So it's a new look team for the Centennial Colts. It's also a new look team for the George Brown Huskies, who actually had 3 rookie starters in this one today. They're coached by Luke Sim, who played his university ball at Western, my alma mater in London. Then he also spent some time coaching with the University of Toronto. So it's 15-11. Colts were in a very similar situation in set number 1. Is it the same kind of messaging here in set number 2?
I think first set was a little more technical system stuff, talking about fixing that defense a little bit. It seems like that's kind of leveled out a bit. So I think you're more or less doing an energy timeout here personally. I think you're more or less just reminding them you've been here, reminding what they need to do, reminding them to keep swinging, right? It's a time where you tend to get a little bit tense and just reminding them to go play like you. Go do your thing.
That one taken awkwardly by Orat. Salazar gets it nicely, but a free ball is sent over as it's kept up on the block.
After the block, a double contact under the net, or into the bottom of the net, I should say. So that is a double call.
That play stemming from the mishandling of the serve by Orat.
Yeah, I said one too many nice things. It's just how it works. The commentator's curse and the coach's curse.
But you get it right back because Nguyen just puts it into the net, so Centennial will get the serve back. Cancels out the mishandling of the serve by the aforementioned Orat.
Righetto back to serve, see if he can be effective at putting George Brown at least out of system here.
That one by Castellato, and the lines judge is going to rule that in. So we'll take a look here on the replay.
It looks like it might have just got that line. I will say that this lines judge is someone I very much trust, which I will not say about everyone, but I've had her judge my games many a time, and she is very effective. I trust her judgment over many of the faces we will see.
Bad first pass attempt there by the Huskies. It allows the Colts to get another point. They've brought it back to within 2. That one's going to go out. And once again, another service error for the Colts.
That's the kind of service area you can live with right now, though. You're okay with that. You don't love it, don't get me wrong. You never want to lose the point, but you're okay with those right now. At least most coaches are. I can't necessarily speak for Coach Couchman, but for myself at least, I would be okay with it.
That one hit hard by Righetto, kept up nicely by Frobel, and that's Lee.
Righetto put a little extra on that swing after the missed serve, I'm sure.
So after the double hit, it's a 2-point game once again. It's going to be Castellato back to serve for Centennial. Pedro Castellato, also a member of the Colts media team. You might have heard him on some Colts broadcasts as he puts that one right into the net. It's Lee back to serve for the Huskies. And that one's also going to go out. So service mishaps on both sides, but as Coach Mallory's been saying, that's just what you have to deal with in the early season.
Nah, that service miss, though, that's a little different story. That's a float serve that you put too many feet long. That's not a mistake you're okay with, because that's not an aggressive serve. Same situation there. That's not a super aggressive serve. You like that he was aiming short. That's always a tougher serve to get, but that far down the tape. Those are a little different story, and that's where you kind of have to judge, both as a player and a coach. What are you okay with and what are you not? What's a good mistake and what's something that needs correcting quickly?
Castellato, Matsuto, right there to Alvarez. Great placement on the quick hit there. And we've seen a couple of those from Pedro Alvarez this game, or Pablo Alvarez this game. Even as a middle, he's got that attacking mentality. As another serve into the net. So that's 3 straight serves for the Colts that hit the net.
Pablo Alvarez is a first-year middle coming in and playing right away. We'll look to see how he develops as the year goes on, but that one was very effective of reading what your blocker's doing, going the other way. If you can do that effectively as the year goes on, that's what you have to do in the men's game.
Again, Alvarez. That one kept up by the Huskies. It's Kwan on the big hit. That block kept up by Alvarez. Set there for Righetto, who puts it right in the middle of the Husky defense.
Husky defense got caught just standing and staring partway through that one, and that set was phenomenal on a second watch. Wow. No wonder they got caught flat-footed. That was a kill for Righetto, but that is big points for your setter there. Alvarez very long on that one. His toss was not effective. That's unusual for him to toss that poorly.
So one thing we've been seeing is the rookie starters, specifically Alvarez and Matsuto, doing very good things in their first start for the Colts, as Righetto with another one. Once again, a nice play by Matsuto, ranging to his left, puts that ball straight up for Righetto.
When you can be that effective attacking from that deep, it is a very deadly part of the offense.
And there's another one of your little floater serve mishaps.
I feel Coach Couchman's stress up here. I can feel it. Especially as we get late, that far along is not what you want to be, because there's not even a chance that they misplay it. There's not a chance the linesperson makes the wrong call. You're just out of it. Coach
said it best. You need to play your best in the 20s. As now the Colts themselves will enter the 20s as that serve goes out.
This is where we saw them go off last set. If they can do that again, they're okay.
Only down 2 this time as opposed to first set when they were down 3. So 1 extra point to work with. As Righetto is
coming. Took a little off to make sure it was in.
Big hit there.
Kobe John puts it down. Again, moving to his left, pulling the blocker to his left, and then shortening up his swing to send it down directly where his blocker wasn't.
We see some outside hitters go for placement. Kobe John goes for power, as that was Sevis trying to get the finish. And that one's put over by the Huskies.
How
Salazar.
was that not a lift? Doesn't matter in the end, but I don't know why there was no call on that. But
It did seem Quan kind of cupped that one to go back over. It doesn't matter as Sevis on his second attempt of the point does get the finish.
just needed to get Sevis' moment there, get his kill on the scoreboard.
Castellano short serve taken by Quan. That one tipped over.
Interesting adjustment there by Castellano to go away from the spin serve he's been doing all day.
Salazar with the spike. And the Centennial Colts bring it back to within one. So down 23-20 in multiple sets.
Now, do we see the short float or does he go back to the spin? Float it is.
That one, Frobel blocked by Sevis. It's tied once again at 23. And a timeout's gonna be taken by Coach Sim.
Castellano changing up his serve style drastically now that we hit the clutch moments, just trying to make sure it's in, letting the Colts play defense. It worked out twice there. We'll see how it happens after the timeout. That serve after timeout is so tough, mentally and physically, to put in the right spot.
I was about to say those two serves into the net by Castellano this set had to be in his mind. And that's why he's been going for those safer options.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's still developing that spin serve. Just based on the context I have, I'm not in their practices, but I'm guessing it's something they're working on, but he's not entirely confident in yet. So once we get into the later points of the set, he'll go to what feels comfortable, feels safe. We have a couple players on the women's team who are in that similar situation right now. I know I personally am encouraging them to keep spinning, keep being aggressive at this point of the year, but obviously it's working for the Colts right now with Castellano going for that effective, but a little less deadly, smaller float serve.
Castellano once again. That was a good tip there, but they're going to call a net violation. That's called by the fourth official. So point goes to the Huskies. And it's going to be set point here for George Brown.
I like that block system adjustment by Coach Couchman there. I was wondering if he would send somebody else to help on John to take away that shot he's made effectively there, and they did.
And that one blocked. And flipping the script is the George Brown Huskies as they tie this one at one set apiece. As we will switch sides.
It's going to be a battle tonight in the A-Dub-C. We've already seen one game go tense. We got another one going. We got some George Brown fans that have reawakened their noise in the building, and it's crosstown rivals going at it again.
So it's the George Brown Huskies, after the Centennial Colts take set number 1, 25-23, take the second set, 25-23. We'll have third set coverage for you right after this. Welcome back. It's the second half of our doubleheader here on Coltsnet Live. Zachary Friedman, Coach Andrew Mallory.
It's been a fun one so far. Definitely been a tight game. I don't know if this was how either team was expecting it to go. It's always hard to say what your expectations are coming into that first game, but I think both teams will be fairly happy with how it's been, but also a little disappointed. Definitely has been a fair amount of errors, more than some teams would like to see, especially in the middle parts of that second set. But you've got 2 more sets you got to win that you can really turn your day around. So
lineups are set. It's 1-1, and we get going on set number 3. It's going to be George Brown starting with serve. And that was Park as that one tipped over. And that's Frobel on the attack. And they're going to call a violation on the net. So the ball went out anyways. But getting a piece of the net there.
Too aggressive there with a little bit of chaos behind, just overreached on the block.
Now it's Salazar! Nice set there from Matsuto. No mistake from Salazar, sending it straight down into the teeth of the Husky defense.
Now, some of you might be asking at home why he's allowed to touch the net there. You can touch the net if it doesn't affect the play and you're outside the antenna. So after he hit, he moved to the outside of the antenna with his momentum, so he hit the net out there. It is not a net violation. That's why that was not called where some of these other ones happened.
That was a nice dig by Castellato to keep the play alive. He's going to set it for Salazar, and that one gets into the block, but it's saved by Nguyen. Frobel sending it across. Orad, Matsuto, Salazar. That one's blocked and out.
Salazar really stepping up at the beginning of this set. Made one error there, but he's been playing well to start here. The Colts need him to take over.
Go to their stars. They're going to jump in front as Matsuto gets the serve off. Big hit from Ken Nguyen, the first-year player out of Woodbridge, one of those rookie starters for George Brown.
That arm swing was elite. He took that ball but way behind his head. That had to hurt the shoulder, first off, but second off, what a phenomenal swing.
It's Kwan now on the serve. Good second ball from Matsuto to Salazar. So we're looking at a dynamic duo potentially forming. Matsuto, I don't know. I need your opinion on this, Coach, because I'm going to say Matsuto playing the Robin to Salazar's Batman.
Yeah, typically that's the case. Usually all the praise goes to the attackers, so we'll allow that as the way we put that.
As another good touch by Nguyen gets the point for the Huskies.
Salazar will be looking to fill the stat sheet this year, especially having lost some of the added spice to the lineup the Colts had last year in their playoff run. They're really going to look for him to fill that stat sheet and make the big plays when they need it.
That block going out.
Righetto with the kill. He's going to be, I think, the real focus when they're trying to balance this offense, having that left side, right side balance, whether it's front row or back row. I think Righetto is going to be one of the key players here this year for the Colts, as well as Castellano has showed early in this game. He can be a big threat as well.
And there's that lethal serve you were talking about. That short serve hits the white of the net and dances along into the open part of the court. It's an ace for Sevis.
There's a funny little word that has gone around the volleyball circles called flean, which stands for flat, low, even, and at the net. And it is deadly when it's effectively there.
Good dig there by Salazar. Castellato putting it back over. Attempt for Frobel. Matsuto unable to get the dig there.
That might be the weaker part of his game right now as the first year is on the defensive side. I haven't seen enough to really make that distinction, but usually younger setters, that will be the part that is later to develop as they focus on the offense side.
Righetto, good attack. Back over the net on the dig. As that one sent back over.
Alvarez
Matsuto
read the block wrong there and went the wrong way with this end over. First year mistake, but that will come as time develops.
Good dig by Matsuto. It's there for Righetto. It's tipped back over. And there's going to be an attempt here for Frobel from the back, and that one goes into the net. miss hit by David Frobel, who's been having a pretty good game on the attacking front. I mean, obviously, a set to the back and an attack from the back, a lot more challenging. But where does that does the difficulty lie just in the amount of space, or is it different technique?
It's mostly, like, it is a different technique, but mostly the difficulty comes from just the angles. You have less angles where you can hit that ball that it will still be over the net and in the court because of how far back you are.
That one mishit.
I like the read there by John, though. He didn't get it, but he saw the open spot as the Colts adjusted to that ball he's been hitting earlier in the game. Almost got it, just a little short on that tip, too short for. If he had got it, it probably would have scored because of the way the Colts set up to take away that strong hit to 5 that he's been doing.
That Righetto serve, too tough for the Husky defense, and another point here for the Colts. They lead 8-4 in set number 3. Taken nicely. Good play there as that one is going to go out, though. Good play by Noah Park to get it back somewhere where his teammate could get an attack on it.
And good agility by Coach Couchman to get out of the way of that ball.
It's going to be a timeout after more than a few drop points by the Huskies. And Luke Sim will look to regroup his team here.
This feels more like the aggressive Colts, like how they want to play this. They're really taking big swings when it's there. They're really spreading the offense, going both pins, taking advantage of their strong outside hitters. I think this is more how they want to attack this game.
And I mean, in your meeting with your players prior to the game, you just kept saying attack, 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 bring the hammer down. And that's a message that apparently has been relayed to the men's side for this one.
Yeah, you want to be the hammer, not the nail. If you're the nail in volleyball, it means you're the one who's taking all the attacks, having to play defense, and trying to win by volume of attacks rather than good in-system attacks. You want to be the hammer. You want to be the one who has the big swing and puts it down and hits that nail so it goes away.
So we come out of the timeout. Colts will have serve as they're up 9-4. Built up an early lead that they'll try to expand upon. The first 2 sets both being very close. Colts looking to build some space here.
I would expect to see a little bit of a set play off of this timeout by George Brown to try to get out of this rotation, but we shall see what they have cooked up.
We'll see if they go again to Kobe John in the middle. It looked like they were going to, but it's back over the net a little too far. Salazar from the back! That one off the chest of the Husky defender. Salazar once again! That one kept up by Frobel. And sent over, and they're going to rule that one in. From our angle, that one definitely looked like the ball was entirely over the line.
Castellano going to have a spirited discussion with the referee. Down ref didn't like something. I couldn't tell if that was with the Colts or with Colts fans.
I think it was fans.
I didn't see what happened there. I don't know if a fan came out to argue a little bit.
Salazar doing a good job, though, staying careful there, as he does already have that 1 yellow card on the evening.
Now you got to set it aside. The next point is now. It matters just as much as that last one. And that is a ball don't lie situation if I've ever seen one. That ball determines that that previous ball was in fact out, and that should be the
And who was the most emphatic in that celebration? Of course, Leo Salazar, who had a front row seat to that controversial call. Castellano, big serve.
Oh, there we go. That's the serve I like to see.
That's Quan. It's kept up by Righetto. Salazar, it's in the middle. Righetto getting it on the miscommunication. As Quan again has it blocked, and that one stays in.
The fine margins of this game.
Was that Salazar or Alvarez? It was Salazar with the tips of the right finger.
Yeah, Salazar normally plays on the left side. They have been leaving him on the right side to block some here. That's been a defensive adjustment Coach Couchman has made. We'll see if they stick with that during the game, if it's just certain rotations, or if that's going to be more of a long-term defensive strategy.
Pedro Castellano. I don't know what happened between sets. but he is playing much more aggressively on the serve. Maybe it's just because we're in the middle of the set as opposed to closer to the end.
He may have also got told to be more aggressive on the serve. I don't know that for sure, but often that will be the case there. Especially, as I said, early in the season, if you want someone to be aggressive throughout the year, you want them to be aggressive right now and working on it, and you're going to live with the errors that happen.
That's a quick one for Alvarez.
Nice, up. Gets one hand underneath that ball.
And that's a free ball here as Castellato. Matsuto, Salazar, and that one's too strong for the two blockers of the George Brown Huskies.
Great kill. I think Coach Couchman's having to talk about that ball should be going to middle. They sent two blockers immediately out to cover Salazar because of how effective he's been, but that means you had your middle blocker on one outside blocker. That is a matchup you want your setter to take all day, every day.
Alvarez on the serve. It's going to be Frobel as Salazar gets it up for a back set here. That was a good attempt by Righetto from the back.
Textbook defense by the lib from George Brown. That's number 13. Oh, we don't have a pronunciation guide on that one. Gobizio. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that one. But that was excellent defense. We have to give him his shout out on that one. Right on the line. Effective angle with the hands. Getting that platform up. Led to the George Brown point.
Nice play by Matsuto, but that was kept up.
That one is not. Salazar finishes it as he postures for his own bench there, making sure he turns away from the other George Brown Huskies to not get another little bit of a call or talking to from the referee.
Now, Coach, I've seen the play before where they get the hand down. Is there a specific term?
Pancake.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was going to say pancaking. I just didn't want to sound stupid.
Yeah, no, if the hand is under, you're using essentially...
That's another one just on the outside. Let's take a look here on the replay.
You can hear what the Colts people think of that one. They're going to have a talk with the linesperson. The crowd is alive in the A-Dub-C tonight. We got dueling chants, booing fans, chanting fans. This feels like the playoff game we last had here in the spring. I hope this atmosphere stays all year, not just for a home opener. Crosstown rivals definitely make this game a little more fun.
So we'll see the result of the deliberation. It's still going to remain a point.
Both teams were lined up to serve, both thinking it was theirs. Whether you agree with the call or not, you got to get ready for the next one. This next point matters. Same amount of points as the last one. Colts were not set up to pass when that serve came in, so I don't think they did a good job of that.
Righetto's attack goes right into the block.
Reset your mind. Reset your mind. Castellano, be careful. Be careful, Castellano. He's really giving the ref the business a little more than you should as a captain even.
And a timeout's going to be called here by the Centennial Colts.
Unfortunately, this stretch has awakened the George Brown fans.
And so for Sim here, your team is pretty fired up right now, but they might be fired up for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, it's really a management game here. This timeout is all about energy. There's probably not very much technical being said. It's manage yourself, get yourself back, reset. Every point matters 1 point, right? There's a mistake in volleyball by at least one person on every single play. That's just the game we play. You have to reset. Sometimes that mistake is from a ref. Whether it was or not, that's for our Colts at home to decide.
That's for people like us on the broadcast to talk about it.
I attempt not to talk about refereeing on the broadcast, but it is a hard job. It is what I have done. It is one I don't wish to do again in the near future. I've done it for a few sports. Respect your referees, even if you don't always agree with your referees.
So what's your hierarchy? You say you referee a lot of sports.
I have done a lot in the past. Right now, I'm not refereeing anything professionally. I have let all my certifications lapse, but every once in a while you'll get on the stand for occasional games, but I'm happy being in the first chair instead of on the upstand right now. Especially volleyball is a hard game to referee, and very admittedly, it is a hard game to referee.
A red card awarded.
Oh. That is a loss of point. And loss of serve. And that has awakened the Centennial Colts fans. This game has taken a turn in the middle of this set. I'm not sure if that was to the coach. It looked like it was directed more to one of the players on the bench, but I'm not sure which one. Again, just to remind at home, red card is not an ejection in volleyball. That is a soccer-only stipulation, but it is loss of point, loss of serve. Obviously not something you want to get, and it is an official write-up in the sheet.
Righetto, another block, and that one's going to go out. So that's a potential 3-point swing off that loss of serve. Yeah. 13-9 was the score.
Sometimes you'll take a tactical yellow card. Red card is never the tactical play.
As Salazar will take the serve. Good dig there by Kwan. And good block. That was Righetto. Seves in to help.
Salazar getting the crowd going. He wants them to hear it. It shows a sign of how good his serve is when we're calling the passes digs, right? Once you're at that level of that pace where you feel like you're digging that pass instead of actually passing it, you are on the next level as a server, and Salazar certainly is that. Only played the second semester for the Colts last year. It would have been very interesting to see where he stood in the leaderboards of kills and aces had he played the whole year. He is one of the best players in the OCAA, at least in the East Division. In my opinion, having watched last year, he's looking to have another big year for the Colts.
Timeout taken by the Huskies. It's 17-9. Colts taking command of this set, despite a couple questionable calls along the end line. But in response, a red card has proven costly here for the Huskies.
I'm a little surprised that a red card went to George Brown. I don't know what it was for. It might have been time wasting coming out of the timeout. I'm not sure. But it felt like all the energy, negative energy towards the refs was coming from the Colts side at that time. So that was very much against the feeling of the game, of who was angry at the officials. So it will be interesting to see how that develops as the game goes on.
It also just shows you the objectivity and how good of a job these people do at what they're trained and what they've worked their whole life towards.
And the referee, who is the up ref for this game right now, he is very good at being a duck and letting the water just roll off his back. He does not take things too personally and just kind of is here to do his job, and he doesn't get too stressed about the little things, but he will call you if you're out of line, as we've seen today.
We're going to have a substitution, as that's Christopher Chong, first year out of St. Mike's. He's checking in.
We'll see if Salazar goes right after the new sub in. Usually that is the strategy to see if they are actually ready to go.
Right at him. And that one up, but doesn't hit the ceiling. It's kept in, but a free ball now. Matsuto, quick one there. That was Seves. Sent back over, kept up by Salazar. Castellano with the tip. And they're going to call the middle line there. Coming down. So on the violation, it's going to be George Brown.
Looked like he tried to avoid it and or hit outside the antenna, but just couldn't quite stop the momentum.
It's Nguyen on the serve. Put up nicely for Castellano. That one tipped over, but out of play. Quick pass in to Matsuto.
Christopher Chong's reaction time was tested on that one. Shooting off his teammate towards him, just couldn't quite get enough of his hand on that ball to direct it over and into the court. Not the over, not quite the into the court.
Now, I mean, I'm sounding like a broken record talking about Matsuto so much, but as a coach, that one's blocked but kept up.
Oh, a quick send, but brought up by the Colts.
Castellano sending it over.
Seves working so hard on defense, he's faking his own teammates out. The middle, putting in the work defensively. You gotta love it when your middle does that. Normally they get taken out for the libero, but after they serve, they are normally a target, and he did a great job of maybe saying, I should not be a target.
So 19-10 for the Colts. Seves on the serve. And that one is for the newly subbed in Chong. He's going to get his first points of the game.
Going right at the middle in the back row, and Sebas there. As I said, they are a target usually. He did an effective job on the first play, not quite able to get that dig up there.
Salazar looking for Righetto.
Off the antenna, George Brown point.
So as I was saying before, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but I talk about Matsuto a lot, and for you as someone who's a university coach, you understand the importance of development. How impressed are you with what the first-year setter's done in his first match?
I've been very impressed. Like, there's definitely going to be development, and as a coach, I'm definitely always looking for next steps. So not to be negative, but I'm seeing the next steps as well. But he's done a very good job. He's spread his offense, left side, right side. He's really working his pins, which is the Colts strategy. That's where their big attackers are. He's done an effective job of distributing. It'll be interesting to see how he develops as well. And as I said, I don't necessarily know their game plans. I know Castellano has been starting at center in some of their preseason games, starting at the outside today. We'll see if he sticks there all year or if that's just kind of a game plan thing. I don't really know at this point. I'll have to watch more this year before I can effectively speak to that, as I'm not in their practices. But I was not expecting to see Matsuto setting today, and I've been very impressed to watch him tonight.
That one was Alvarez over the middle.
First year to first year, the future is bright.
And the Colts are well positioned. Just 4 points away now from taking set number 3.
It feels almost like it's a little closer just based on the energy we had in the middle, but the Colts have been the more effective team this set for sure.
That block kept up. Castellano gets it to Matsuto. It's Salazar with the touch.
Little error on the set there. Bigger error on the set there. Matsuto just setting a little too tight. Salazar able to put it back over, and then a double by the opposing setter, which of course will end the rally, so that's a mistake you don't want to make.
9-point advantage for Centennial. Big serve of Castellano.
Oh, effective get. That's a very tough ball for Noah Park to get to.
Seems like when you're 9 points ahead, there isn't much pressure on how hard you hit the serve.
No, especially if you're working on that. That is when your confidence goes up that little bit enough where you're feeling it and you're ready to just put that ball down. Sometimes you just got to go hunt an ace.
Another one. And Castellano.
As hard as they are, I will say he is targeting the libero right now. I don't know if that would be my serving target at the moment. He has played quite effective. Nicolas Gopisoto. Again, I think I pronounced that differently than last time, so apologies again. But he is, and they're now pushing him. Oh, no, he's back in. They didn't seem to know what they wanted to do for passers there for George Brown. They had pushed their lib out. He came in right at the end, but it might have been enough to distract the server. Sometimes just giving a different look, making them think about a different thing is enough to put off a serve, and that's what we saw there. So
just 1 point needed here for the Colts. That one's up. Matsuto. Righetto! From the back. Hammers it into.
And we see both the Colts getting high fives from Castellano as he pumps the crowd up there to end the set. Very excited Colts. Young Colts have been working very hard today. They pick up with the second set win. One more to go. We'll have to see how George Brown adjusts in the next set.
So we'll switch sides and get set for set number 4 as Centennial takes a 2-1 lead overall in this best of 5. We're going to be back in just 2.5 minutes with 4th set action. Welcome back inside the AWC at Centennial College's Progress Campus. It's the fourth set of the second half of our volleyball doubleheader as the Centennial Colts men's team lead 2-1 on the George Brown Huskies. It's been an energetic game to say the least as we bring back in women's volleyball head coach Andrew Mallory. It's been, like I said, it's been a high energy, high volume affair.
It's felt like a rivalry game this year. It hasn't always with us and George Brown. Some years it feels very rivalry. Some years it feels a lot more, just is what it is, just another game. It feels like a rivalry this year. Saturday night, crosstown fans coming to visit. Ooh, and a big swing there by George Brown. Daniel Kwan puts that down with authority.
So we saw it earlier on the attack by Nguyen, but these Husky attackers not afraid to put a full swing on the ball. But that's Salazar with one of his own in response.
That was like right in the corner. I want to see that replay.
And we've got a great angle here from the back.
Oh, a little more inside than I thought, but that's actually even better the way the libero set up. What a swing.
Salazar hard serve.
I wish I played volleyball as good as Salazar did when I was that age.
Kwan's hit was blocked. It's Frobel with a try now. And that one goes out, no tip. So Salazar will get another chance to rocket one into this Husky defense.
First attack is always the one from the service line.
And that one goes directly into the net. But as a coach, you can't be too upset with the aggression on those serve attempts.
No, you have to let Leo just be aggressive. Salazar's superpower, as I like to say it, is his power, his arm swing, and just his all-out aggression and passion. You have to let him go be aggressive. You can let the rest of the team be a little safer if you need, but you let Leo be Leo, and you let Gianluca Righetto do his thing. Big swing down the line there as well.
Another good pass from Matsuto backwards.
Libero moved in that time based on where Leo had hit the ball previously, and instead Righetto puts it right down the line. That's got to be frustrating as a lib. When you start moving and they see you start moving, that's when you're in trouble.
And that's another serve into the net by Sevis, who will take a seat as Orat, the libero, comes back into the game.
Kobe John into the front row was a little quieter last set. I think George Brown has to look to let him have a good series across the front here.
Quick pass there for Alvarez. Cheeky touch to find the open spot on the floor.
A great tip hit is just as effective as a big swing. You see it there when it's well timed and well used and well disguised. It is deadly.
So it's Righetto back to serve. Colts up 4-3. As it was right there for Frobel.
Salazar either read something or just got a little lost of where he was on the court. He was not where you would think he wanted to be. And it appears Castellano has injured a finger. I don't know if the swing just went off of it. Either a sprain, potential dislocation. Whatever it is, it hurts. We'll see if he has to come out here to get some tape or anything like that.
Now, this may seem like a weird question, but I mean, dislocation, sprain. It seems like dislocation would be the less severe injury for volleyball. Huh?
Finger-wise, you will take a sprain all day over dislocation. Depending on the other thing, you won't, but sprained fingers are sadly quite common in volleyball blocking. The ball hitting just one finger will often stress the joint to the point that you will sprain a few of those. I know I have a couple digits that sprained quite repeatedly when I played that I can still sprain by staring at them the wrong way. A lot of volleyball players will just have that bad finger that gets sprained, so it might be something he's used to. It might have been the first he sprained that finger, that's why it hurt so much. It's hard to say without knowing more details.
That attempt by Joseph Lee was airmailed and out the
George
back.
Brown feeling a little aggrieved here, looking for touches that they aren't getting. They don't seem to be touches to me live, but it's hard for me to say. I've got a much different angle than they have.
Another hard serve by Castellato, kept up. Frobel with the attack, kept up by Righetto. It's Salazar.
Oh, puts it through at an awkward angle to generate that power is ridiculous.
Just give us a sense of how much more difficult it is to attack from the opposite side.
It depends on the person. Quite frankly, I usually found it easier to attack from the opposite side. I played most of my volleyball at middle, but did move out a little bit. It really depends on how you approach and whether your hips are mobile or immobile, and just some individualized stuff there. If you're right-handed, it is a little more mentally hard to hit from that side because you have to wait for that ball to come over your body to your right shoulder before you get it. That one was inside. That's hard for Salazar to adjust to. Where on the left side is more your natural big swing side. That's why we usually see lefties play on the right-hand side of the court, where that's their power side. But it can be easier depending on how your body adapts. For Salazar, it's definitely, he prefers to swing from the left, but he is able to make adjustments just like that one and still get power on it in an elite level.
So after 5 straight points by Centennial, they lead 8-4. Caused Sim to use a timeout to talk things over with his Huskies. He doesn't want this set to get too far away from their grasp too quickly. It's going to be Castellato back on serve. Clearly okay after having that brief finger issue.
I'm sure he's still feeling it, but he'll feel worse after the game. For now, he'll deal with it.
As that one's going to go right back.
I don't really know what happened on that play.
I think it wasn't really there for Lee. He thought he was going to have a chance to get a hit on it like that.
Oh, it just takes a deflection off the block.
So they get it right back after the miscommunication, and Lee will get the serve. And I just want to ask, because it seemed like everyone in your game, everyone had the knee pads. It seems like the front, they're not really taking that liberty of being able to wear those.
There is a little bit of a stereotype thing there in the men's game where a lot of men's players won't want to wear it, or you'll have coaches. I know I've had coaches who say they don't want men's players to wear knee pads. Knee pads are optional. If you dive with appropriate technique, you shouldn't hit your knees. However, sometimes things just happen and you do. So most players, especially in the women's game, will choose to use them. Men's game, there tends to be a little more of a stigma there that it shouldn't be there, but unfortunately that just is what it is in society sometimes. Knee health should not be gendered by any means, but unfortunately it is occasionally.
10-6. It's Kobe John serving for the Huskies. That one up nicely. It's Salazar!
Oh.
And he's really feeling his element right now.
The sound on that ball. Wow. It just sounds different when he hits it. It just sounds different.
Sounds like a starter pistol for the Colts right now. And excellent block there. Righetto and Sevis going up together.
They were so in sync on that block too.
It was a great pass and set by the Huskies, but just couldn't get the hit through.
Tried to go a little inside to fake out the block, but Colts defense having none of that. Set up in the perfect spot, lead just enough to send that ball right down to the floor.
So Centennial positioning themselves incredibly well, up 6 points and up 2-1 in the match. Right now, you have a nice cushion of a lead, but you don't want to be comfortable with that lead. What do you have to do tactically here to kind of maintain the pace you're going at?
I think tactically you keep going with what you're doing right now, which is Salazar and Righetto on the outside. If they stop it, you're immediately ready to jump to your middles, right? Because we haven't been using the middles as much as effectively. They're more of a change of pace right now. So you stick with it until George Brown stops it. We'll see if George Brown, who's on the back foot right now, has the defensive adjustment to stop it or slow it down. Then you'll go away from it, then come back to it later. But for now, you stay with it until George Brown stops it.
So out of the timeout, it's Matsuto. So that one goes up for Quan. Another block! The duo of Sevis and Righetto again.
Gianluca with a huge smile after that one. He is excited. Usually a little more low-key when I see him, but wow, he was happy on that one. It's got to feel good.
And that one, a quick hitter that goes into the net. That was Ken Nguyen trying to get it over quickly. But perhaps the Huskies offense a little intimidated by this front of the Colts.
Whatever adjustments were attempting to be made in that timeout did not seem to take effect the way Coach had hoped.
Big serve by Matsuto, and it's Salazar rising up. Leo Salazar getting in on the block party himself.
Return to sender.
And the Colts have built a massive lead now, up 9 points as we're going to get a substitution. It's Christopher Chung back in for Joseph Lee.
A little more time for the first year as well. Might be a development focus. It's hard to say, but hoping he can make an impact late in the set.
That one was by Quan. No tip called. So now the lead hits double digits, and George Brown is simply just falling apart in the last set and a half. And that ball just floating a bit on Matsuto.
Interesting, he mixed up his serve there. He's been spin serving most of the game. Went to a float, looked like his toss was kind of an in-between between the two. And that's kind of one of the dangers when you jump between those serves, is your toss can get a little confused.
And that one through the hands, but kept up. Unable to get it is Salazar. So a botched serve, and then on the reception there, the libero Orad not able to catch it clean. So a couple missed opportunities maybe opens the window here for a run, and another miss by Orad there.
He's been struggling tonight with the passing the balls above his head. It's not something I usually see from him, although it's not a strength of his game, but that's definitely something he will be working on in practice this week.
Frobel with the finish there. 3 straight points now for the Huskies. And it's Salazar taking the high ball there as Righetto! And I think that was an adjustment that Coach Couchman made as Salazar stepped directly in front of Orad. Of course, they're going for him on that serve, especially like you mentioned, over the head. But Salazar getting it to a position where they can set it nicely for Righetto, as Salazar's hard serve is in for an ace. I didn't even see where that one landed.
It cut. It had so much power, and it cut right down that seam.
Oh, and you see the curveball action on that spin serve.
Once he starts adding that turn of the hand to his serve is when it gets really, really deadly.
Another hard serve. It's over to Frobel. Salazar puts it up. He'll get one at the back here. And Frobel tips it back over.
Oh, yeah, that's a lift or a double. Either way, not a point for the Colts.
Centennial saying Sevis had the first touch there, but they're going to say it was Righetto on both instances.
I think you also could have called a lift on the second touch there by Righetto, so either way, all comes out in the wash. Ball handling error.
That one into the net. So once again, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, George Brown lets Centennial off the hook. Energy started to rise. You have to take advantage there, and unfortunately they were not able to. And we'll see a substitution. We will see Tony Tran coming in, a veteran from this team, coming in to serve, number 14, Tony Tran from Toronto's Western CI School. And you hear the Centennial crowd. This is a fan favorite. He's been around. He started some games last year. We will see him on court this year again, I'm sure. Well loved by Colts Nation.
And that one's going to be short.
And the crowd is fired up for Tony Tran. Home opener, getting Tony Tran in. The big faithful.
And you'll get another opportunity here.
The vibes are good tonight in the AWC.
He's looking off that left side, but will keep going to the right. It's Frobel. And that one goes out, no tip.
And we'll get another serve from Tony Tran.
Unless they're going to be bringing in Simon Cannon. But no, that's going to be for Pablo Alvarez.
It would seem we're getting in the extra people who need some touches. Get them energy, get them to get that first touch of the year out of the way in this first game. It's always a great feeling when you can do that.
So Cannon from nearby Senator O'Connor. As Frobel gets it, as Salazar digs it nicely. Point will go.
I think that's his first ball handling error of the game, which for a first-year setter in their first game, this late in the game, is pretty good. It means he's handled the nerves very well.
Orad coming back in for Tony Tran, so it was fun while that lasted.
There you go, Orad above the head, gets his pass.
They're calling it a tip, and it will be Centennial's point.
Up ref overrules the linesperson on that one. Looked like the defender was actually playing outside of the court.
Yeah, and that does hit the right hand of David Frobel. So 3 points away from taking the match are the Colts. Righetto, hard serve. And that's Frobel. Nice touch there between the two blockers, Cannon and Castellato. It's going to be Frobel on serve.
We'll see if they go to Simon Cannon here.
It's Salazar!
With the rocket.
As much as you want to get Cannon involved as the substitute libero, Mark Esguerra.
Mark's someone who's played some big volleyball for the Colts before last year, so this is somebody who is definitely good to get in, get his first touches of the year. Just breaks that nerves a little bit for a lot of these players as you get ready to go to Seneca next Wednesday night.
That one put up nicely, and that's an opportunity for Chong. We got a pass here for Salazar.
Oh, little too cute there. Like the idea, execution wasn't quite what he wanted.
Maybe the right play, but that's definitely not what the crowd wants to see out of Salazar, especially considering how effective he's been with his power this game.
We all want to see the big swing, let's be honest.
Nice save by Salazar. It's back on the Husky side. That one's blocked, kept up by the Huskies. It's Quad now. That one blocked, but unable to defend that one. 23-14, still the Colts lead. They still sit 2 points away from victory. Matsuto, good tip there. And that's going to be called a lift on Righetto. So if you are Coach Couchman, you're 2 points away, but George Brown's clawing away. how many more consecutive points do you need from George Brown to call a timeout? Doesn't matter.
None.
Forget the
I
question.
none.
Forget the question.
I was pondering, but I changed my answer.
Salazar once again with the finish.
I like to say the best timeout is the one you never have to take. So the best timeout he could have taken there is the one he didn't take.
And Tony Tran back in. Will they give him the chance at sealing the match?
Cannon, his first serve of the game.
And now it's up! Salazar with the block!
Salazar giving the crowd a little bit of extra on that one as well.
Salazar with the block, 25 on the board, and the Centennial Colts
and
with
the women's
a
team go to celebrate with
sweep.
them, and both teams pick up the big win today. Always feels great, especially against the crosstown rivals. Job done. To Seneca on Wednesday is now the next thing to focus on after enjoying this for about 24 hours.
So that's a 2-0 sweep for the women and the men against the George Brown Huskies. Solid starts to both seasons. Next up will be a game against Seneca, you said, on Wednesday.
Wednesday night at Seneca.
At Seneca, so we won't have a Coltsnet broadcast for a while, but you will still be able to watch that one on OCAA TV. Want to thank Coach Andrew Mallory once again for being a part of this men's volleyball win. The Colts take it 3-1. Once again, I'm Zachary Freeman for our entire Coltsnet Live crew. Good night and have a good one.